Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing Black Mass, which is the new film directed by Scott Cooper, who also directed films like Out of the Furnace with Christian Bale and Crazy Heart, most notably. The film stars Johnny Depp, Benedict Cumberbatch, and a slew of very famous actors who are just kind of there to try to make the parts in this film less underwhelming. I've never really been a big Scott Cooper fan. You know, I think he makes solid movies, but I think that he doesn't have as much substance as I think that he wants to have. He's been able to get by having films that are just kind of solid, kind of generic movies, but the material has been elevated by great actors that are really able to chew the scenery and give dimension where maybe there isn't much. And because of that, his films have become either passable or even entertaining. Case in point, Crazy Heart. And this film is yet another example of that. Johnny Depp's performance is so good in it that every time he's on screen, it makes the film worth watching. So this film is based on true events, and it's about a very notorious crime lord, Whitey Bulger, and it takes place in Boston in the 1970s, when Whitey became an informer for the FBI agent, John Connolly. The film is really, I think for the most part, it's about how their partnership starts to become more and more bloody and out of control. This is one of Johnny Depp's best performances in years. He was an actor who started out being one of the most promising actors of his generation back in the 90s. I mean, he made a lot of really amazing movies, like, some of my favorites of all time, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Love that movie. Ed Wood also is an incredible film. Dead Man, and all kinds of other ones. He was a character actor who was able to be in leading man roles, but in recent years, and particularly after the phenomenon of Pirates of the Caribbean, he started to kind of phone it in. He just started playing dress up and hiding behind all this makeup to the point where it became a caricature. And it was more like he was playing a mockery of himself. And in Black Mass, he definitely has an appearance that is distinctly different from how he looks in real life, but this is the first time that I feel like the way he looked did not distract from the performance. Instead, it really enhanced it in a subtle way. He looks like Hannibal Lecter merged with an albino. He's just very chilling, like these very ghost-like features and these icy blue eyes. You see the full range of emotions in this character through the way that he is able to internalize them in a script that really isn't that deep. And there are a few scenes in the film, particularly one that takes place in a hospital and one towards the end. It's a dinner scene, and I'm pretty sure you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the film, if you haven't already, where he is genuinely terrifying and you just can't take your eyes off him. He's got such a charisma about him, and I forgot that I was watching Johnny Depp, which is really hard to do. You're just sitting there and you're thinking, I can't believe that the same guy who played Jack Sparrow is this guy. But unfortunately, there isn't an element of the film other than his performance that matches up to his level of skill. And the problem is that it's the way that it's designed. The plot design is a little bit all over the place. And the story doesn't know how to create that emotional impact based on the way that it designs the characters. When the movie begins, I thought, oh, well, this is gonna be a lot like Goodfellas. It does have that kind of same opening where you have a young guy who's looking back at the time he served under Whitey Bulger, and then it switches to becoming more about Whitey's relationship with his brother, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. And then it starts to become about his friendship and his partnership with John Connolly, which kind of has a little bit of a James Cagney, Pat O'Brien relationship like you'd see in something like Angels with Dirty Faces back in the 30s. So you've got multiple points of view here, and I don't mind that. I actually think that's really cool. I love the idea of having all kinds of different people telling what it was like from their point of view to work for somebody so notorious. That's a really neat concept, but the problem is with this film, the supporting roles just don't have the dimension beyond just being very stereotypical foils for the Whitey character. It's a very one-sided piece in that we don't get to see the give and take relationship. We really just see all these perceptions of the character of Whitey built through these people's eyes, yet we don't get that connection and the chemistry between said character and Whitey in order to build our empathy. And I think almost on a subconscious level, I don't even think this is intentional, but in a way it's almost like they've got all of these great actors, because there are a lot of people like Peter Sarsgaard, Kevin Bacon, the list goes on, of a lot of great characters in the film, and it's almost like, well, these characters are so uninteresting that we need to have greater actors in order to give them at least some sort of punch. And the female characters in this film, were horrible. I mean, they are nothing but just cookie cutter archetypes that we have seen, these female roles that we have seen in a million gangster movies. You have, you know, two disapproving wives, and then you've got the dumb but sympathetic prostitute character, and it's like, we're in the 21st century. I want to see more complex relationships if you're going to have the female characters there. Like maybe the ladies in American Hustle, the Jennifer Lawrence character, the Amy Adams character, or even better, The Sopranos. Think about all the fabulous female roles in that show. And if it were me, and I know it wasn't, but I think that what might have been a better idea is maybe to pull the focus and make it more about the Connolly character and the Whitey character, rather than having all of these other points of view, just to give it more focus. That's what's really interesting to me, seeing two people that are friends slowly start to go sour because of the nature of the business and because of the nature of their jobs and how they change and grow apart. So it's that meaning of loyalty and how far you're willing to go for it if you are. But again, we don't feel that emotional impact because the dynamic between them is slightly one-sided. You've got this character Connolly who's just, again, a very kind of cut-out FBI guy. I would have liked to see much more personality from his character, and maybe the film could have even done with like a flashback sequence or just an early sequence that showed them as children, just so you can see that full arc. But I don't think it's just the script that's the problem here. I also think it's Joel Edgerton. I just think he's miscast. I've never been a fan of his. There's not a single role that I was emotionally moved by that he has done. I think that he is all surface. I never feel anything of what he's going through internally, and that's a big problem when you're trying to play a character that is so important. He just doesn't know how to bring a character to life to me, other than maybe just Uncle Owen from Star Wars, and he had like 2 lines in that. And then on top of all of this, the film never finds its true voice. It comes off as just an homage to Scorsese. I mean, there is so much Scorsese influence in this film. Everything from the religious symbolism to the music montages to like the slow motion, slow zooms to the voiceover. It for me at least, for somebody who has seen a lot of gangster movies, that was kind of distracting. Even though I do think that the parts with Johnny Depp are worth watching, I can't really recommend the film as a whole. Like, if you can just go on YouTube and watch his scenes, yeah, do that. I mean, if you're gonna go see it, see a morning show, matinee, don't pay full price. So that's my review. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, the link is below, and you can also like my Facebook page in the link below that. Catch you next time.